If I was in Black Panther, if I was in Wakanda, what tribe would I be a part of?
The Goat Tribe.
The Goat Tribe. No, man, I'm a gorilla, man. I'm a part of the gorillas. Gorillas in the mist.
But they were trying to beast out here. Okay, I got you.
Nah, hey everybody, how y'all doing today? This is your man Jay Kevin.
And this is Lake Taylor.
Here one more day, just here to have a little fun. Two shot guys and one mic, just here to do a review of Black Panther.
Yeah,
I did.
It's not gonna be a full review because I don't want to give spoilers to anybody because I know plenty of people haven't gone to see it because typically I'm that person. So I don't want to be, on here talking about what it is and all of that.
But
kind of stuff.
if you don't want to hear nothing about Black Panther, maybe you should skip this show.
No, you never skip this show. No.
Well, yeah, you never skip the show.
For viewers as it is. It's like
but just know that we're gonna do our best to make sure that we don't give away do any spoilers or anything like that. But
I know I won't, but I don't know about Kevin. Kevin likes to run it.
I don't see how you can make it this far without no spoilers in your life anyway, with all the hypeness around it. If you are breathing,
it's like a billion articles out there right now.
1 billion, 1 billion and one even.
Yeah. Speaking of which, definitely Black Panther.
What's up?
What's going on, Jeremy? How you doing, bro? Definitely the numbers that it's pulling is ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
Last one I looked at, I believe that the movie has already made 400 million.
You serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's killing, and I'm definitely glad to see that. That means more people other than us are going to see it, which is always a good thing.
It means there's a market for it, and as they knew it was a market before it anyway, before they made it. They see the trends, they keep up with the forecasting, they know where things are heading, but it just shows the buying power that can happen when you tap into
we won't freeze, Cheryl. Anyway, keep going. I'm talking.
Yeah, when you tap into something, it just shows you the buying power and the energy and the moving power of a particular block or community, no matter what. Just like an agile and observant politician, some of these guys are, and you have to be in your life. Be wise as wise as serpents, harmless as doves. So you should,
turtle doves.
You want to be wise, and you want to have your eyes open and see what's going on. But you want to make sure that your movement, your intentions, are coming from a place of peace. But anyway, we just two shot guys and a mic. We're about helping you level up and helping you live a Wakanda lifestyle, right? That's what we want. Zamunda even.
Zamunda, okay.
Or Kingdom of Heaven paradise or Promised Land lifestyle. That's what we're about. But
yeah, I can definitely give it.
We do take a break away from our standard, mode of operandus around here, in that we do like to have fun and throw in our comments and 2 cents on current trends, pop culture, and just some current events, just to kind of keep us relevant and current, and it just adds a little spice to the mix.
Yeah, plus we still live in this world.
We still live in this world, and one of the things that I'm learning to do is to navigate this world in the best way possible that will lead to peace and as less headaches is what we're about. That's what I'm about. Less headaches. I know I'm going to have them. Life is about living at the edge of your comfort level, but I don't want a lot of headaches doing it. I don't want to add to it more than what I'm scheduled for. You know what I'm saying? And I know you don't either. But just getting right down to it, we talked a little bit about this last Thursday, I believe.
No, we talked about it Friday, actually.
Friday.
Yes.
Just talking about movies in general as being a way to add a little adventure in your life, adding a little way of escapism and a way to alleviate and open your mind up to some ways of being creative and shaping and forming your own narrative about your life and the way you want it to go. So movies serve so many purposes that it's not even funny. The impact can impact and affect every area of your humanity. So this is why movies in general are important. It helps. Let me see here. What else I want to go with that?
Yeah, I'm just over here sharing, by the way.
Yeah.
Doing what I do, because Kevin didn't do it so well, so I got to chip in.
Yes. He's the technician. We love technicians because they make the world go round. They make sure everything is good. You know, I always tell my sons that don't be the popular guy now, but be the nerd and geek now, because nerds make the world go round. We just have to live in it.
Okay.
The rest of us just have to live in it. That's however the API is, the nerds orchestrating code.
Yes, sir. We're definitely trying not to give any spoilers as well. Like I said, we want to be respectful for the people that haven't gone to see it yet. So we just want to talk about some things in a general sense, things that we liked about it.
And one of the things she hit on that we can jump off is she says she loves how any age group can go see it. Yeah, and sure. that's one of the things you'll notice about Black Panther in general, that it's a good movie. And whether you're familiar with or you keep up with the Marvel universe at all, anybody can go see it as a standalone movie, and it's just for the story alone. Yeah. You can start with that and immerse and start the journey of learning about what comic books is all about and what this whole Marvel fanaticism is about too. Yeah, no porn. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
No,
really.
I did. Yeah, I always think about those kinds of things, especially we took our girls to go see it. And we typically, they had a little bit of profanity in it. Whenever I have my girls, my filters go way up. Yeah. So I hear everything, trust me. So there were a few words in there. Nothing too severe. Had they been younger, I may not have taken them. We typically screen all of their movies. Recently, we started letting them watch some of the Marvel movies because you get a few curse words here and there. But it's nothing that they haven't heard on the streets and around their friends and those kinds of things. But anyway, on a side note, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was kid friendly from the standpoint of it had a lot of things. It wasn't a lot of sexual overtones, which you get in a lot of movies, and this movie didn't have that, which is really, it definitely wasn't over the top. It was actually, if you can call it appropriate, it was appropriate in its use cases in a sense. It wasn't gratuitous by any means, So I definitely enjoyed the movie. I thought it was kid friendly for my kids from the standpoint of their age range and the things that we talk about. One of the things, like you said, for all ages, one of the things that my girls loved about it, specifically my one daughter, her favorite part of the whole movie was the science. Okay. The fact that the sister was the scientist and she loved the lab. That was one of the things that she said stood out to her. What's going on, Karen? How are you doing? That was one of the things that stood out to her because my daughter, she loves science. So just to see that the representation of a young female doing science really fascinated her. Man,
and I was going to touch on that is that especially with relation to current events and trending, where the culture is trending now, and that we are in the process of the transformation into a more digitized age, and science is definitely a major part of that. Which, when you talked about the little sister, made me think of the STEAM agenda that's going on, and then it made me think of some other things too, as far as the convergence between the biological, physical, and digital world, and that. Just knowing how to code, that's one thing that keeps reoccurring whenever I listen to interviews and talks. Anybody from like Sophia Stewart, who wrote The Matrix, who wrote The Terminator. She talked about one of the things you want to make sure you teach your children is how to code. And I was listening to somebody else too, high up in the IT community. He was saying, I was listening to a young African American who started a company to help customer service communicators streamline the process when it comes to telecommunications. Okay. And he was at the Bitcoin event in Florida that's going on right now, and the interviewer's like, "What's one thing after leaving here that you would just tell people in general?" He said, "Tell the young people, given where things are headed." He said, "Learn how to code, bar none." Learn how to code was the one thing he said, just given where things are headed and the trend and the amount of jobs that are going to be lost and converted within this process. So the science part definitely stood out to me. And science is very instrumental when it comes to technology, being that technology is another way of saying tools, building tools that serve man's purposes. And I love that it was she was like, I think she's supposed to be like 16 years old.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, her age in the movie is supposed to have been 16, around 16. But her level of genius and intellect was
astronomical.
And
that was another thing. Karen said yes. Hopefully, it will encourage black girls to get interested in STEM. Definitely, one of the things that I loved about the movie, it didn't play the stereotypes.
Yes,
and that was one of the things that again I was very cognizant of.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I, when we were looking at it, we talked about it. We had a discussion on the way home. What the girls thought about the movie, what they liked about it. They said they liked everything, so you as a parent, you got to keep diving down and drilling down into the things that they liked about it. But one of the things that I enjoyed about it was the fact that there were no dumb people in Wakanda. There were no dumb sidekicks.
No comic.
There was comic relief, but it wasn't on like how
like Star Wars.
Yeah, they weren't dumb. Like most like comic reliefs and those kinds of things. They try to dumb down the sidekick, make them unintelligent or something like a doofus or an oaf, and that wasn't present in Wakanda, and that's what I really loved about that aspect of the movie. Again, I'm being mindful not to give any spoilers. So it wasn't heavy on the stereotypes at all. It had some moments in the movie where it's like, they were going to go there, but they didn't. And that's what I thought. It was a very intelligent movie. It was a very well written movie. It was very say at all. Not even him. And that was the thing, because you expected it, right? And they even played up to that in one of the scenes, and you know what it is, Karen. You know what I'm talking about. They even played up to it, but they didn't. It's like, got you.
To the line.
It's like, gotcha. You thought we was going to do this, but it wasn't even the case. And even reading some of the background information around the story and how the original characters were. I love that Coogler and the other writer. I love how they basically took it and made the characters their own. They was like, okay, here's what the premise of the comic book is, but we're going to get away from that, because some of the things in the comic book are stereotypical, which most comic books are. They thrive on stereotypes, archetypes, and those kinds of things. But they made some very intelligent decisions, I thought, with this movie in the way that they took the direction of it.
Yeah, they handled the story from comic book to movie very well. And you can't complain. It's an overall good story, good movie that anybody could see that will have you feeling good, and it will leave you with some good thoughts, some good lessons. One of the lessons that I took away from it was the importance of making sure that your intentions be from a place of peace and love. And I'm just saying that with respect to one of the main
antagonists.
One of the main tags of the line is, how do you remain a good king? And the answer to that the answer to that was something that we often talk about was collaboration and cooperation. What's that? They should make another movie where Black Panther punches media.
Medea.
Medea. It'll
be a short movie though.
Yeah, it'll be a short movie. Medea, I don't know. Medea might surprise some people though.
No, we definitely don't want Medea.
But one of the ways that you maintain some consistency with being good and moving with good intentions and discipline in your life is by collaborating and building a community and cooperation. And this is one of the things leaders, kings, people in a regular home, in your house, you have to learn how to do is mitigate and spread out responsibility and obligation as far as decision making and making sure things get done. That way, you can maintain a certain level of cohesiveness when it comes to being good and coming from a place of good intentions, love, and peace.
Yeah, and man, it's like I really want to dive into some of the stuff.
Go ahead, man.
No, I'm not going to do that.
We qualified the show.
No,
man,
I'm not going to do that.
It's the okay.
Nah, because again, just thinking about those things, and everybody had their role that they played. Going back to the collaboration piece that Kevin was talking about.
Yeah.
In the movie, everybody had their role. They played within their roles. They played within the confines of their roles. And actually, it was really only the villains that wanted to extend beyond that, right? Yeah. Everybody took ownership of their responsibilities and those kinds of things, and they had a great kingdom. And actually, they were basically the model of the world. They were the Shangri-La, like you said, the lost city of gold, and those kinds of things. So they were model citizens, and then you had a disruption in that, which is what they feared in the first place. It actually made me think about some stories of the kibbutz and those kinds of things. How people, once they, and again, it brought up some very serious questions.
It did.
And some serious dialogue around the fact that they wanted to be an isolated people. And the fact that they were afraid that bringing more people in would disrupt that, which of course it would.
It would.
But think of how many groups that applies to. That applies to a large variety of groups. People are fearful of change, which is what was really going on, the underlying premise.
Yep.
Fearful of change, fearful of, tradition. What happens to our traditions when more people who are in our kingdom don't have our traditions? The mistakes of the elders. It was a whole lot of things that were in that. And the one thing that I loved about T'Challa, he was always he was driven to do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
In his heart, he was driven to do the right thing no matter what. And that's something that we made sure we brought up to our kids and those kinds of things, because that was the thing. It's like, no matter what happens, I don't care who it was, wrong is wrong.
And it doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes and make the wrong decision or fail or along the way, right? And
right.
when you said that, I immediately thought about King David.
Yep.
And that one of the things about King David was he had God's heart, or God was, he had the heart of God.
Right.
But when you look at David's life, you see that he made a lot of messed up decisions that led to a messed up, dysfunctional lifestyle that led to the eventual splitting of the kingdom.
Yeah.
So even though you're driven with goodness, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to fall down and make mistakes.
Yeah. Jay Ayers said, need as many black role models as possible. I'm white, but my kids are black, and they will never be considered white. So I love any black role models, whether it be fictional or not. Yeah, representation is very valuable. I just literally got through watching a design panel talking about representation in the design field, how there aren't really very many black designers. There's not really a lot of designers of color, especially in the U.S. and especially in agencies and these kinds of things, and it's been a real problem. And actually it's trending the wrong way,
really,
in terms of representation within some of these agencies. And so they were talking about, again, the fact and actually did an interview with the guy, my dude Amari, did an interview with him because he did a paper on diversity in design. He did a thesis on it. But anyway, representation is very valuable because it gives you something to aspire to. It gives you an idea. It's like, because it makes it more relatable. It makes it more realistic.
Accessible.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it accessible. Seeing if you see somebody that looks like you, then it's something that innately, it's like, then I can do that too. And many white people don't understand it from the standpoint that in the U.S. there's a lot of representation of them in a lot of fields. So it's something that just goes by that they don't comprehend. But when you're in a place where nobody looks like you, or in the field that you desire to be, and they don't represent you or they look like you, it doesn't seem relatable. It's like I was watching a thing on kids in the hood when they go to the doctor or the whether it be in lawyers and all of these different people that have authority, but they don't represent them. It seems unattainable. So that's one thing that I loved about this movie. And I love the dialogue that the movie generated more so than I love the movie. Because the dialogue, again, we talked about this Friday, the arts have a way of opening up a dialogue in a way that you may not normally be comfortable dialoguing about.
And that's the power of art.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people kind of gloss over the power of artistic expression, but artistic expression is one of the cornerstones, one of the foundational pieces when it comes to culture development, culture sustainability, in that art helps transfer values and what the collective holds is important and needs to be transferred, just like oral tradition and some of these things. It's as far as the socialization and programming of the next generation. So this is why dialogue like this is important, because we can use movies like not only Black Panther but other ones as springboards to take away lessons that'll help you kind of level up in your life.
Yes.
If you let it. Just don't take these things in just for entertainment purposes, but use them what they were designed for, which is for one person or a collective to transfer over to the next generation, or to you, something that's going to help you level up in your life. So, we're having fun with this, just talking about this movie, because it means so much to a lot of people, and you can see it's something that you could seize the moment as far as using it as a launching pad in your house. For example, just talking about creating culture, it's for me. It's placed an importance about me being intentional about the culture I create in my home. So much so to now I understand why growing up, just the simple thing of having like plant life in your life, in your house, in your immediate environment, setting the tone with purposeful music and sounds, and then being purposeful about the smells of your home. This is by design. When you do this, you can literally create your own Eden of peace, to where people are attracted and comfortable, and they know there's something different about your environment. This is something we all know. When we step in Big Mama's house and she got food cooking and it's warm and it's just a place filled with love, you don't want to leave Big Mama's house. Everybody's always at Big Mama's house. Big Mama's going to make sure you eat something before you leave, even if you ain't hungry. She gonna make sure you fed. She gonna make sure you healthy and well, and she gonna make sure that you feeling good. Baby, you all right? I
live in Big Mama's house, so I understand.
Yeah, all the neighborhood kids is over there. All the family stops by. So you want to turn your house into that house on the block, right? In the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, definitely. I've talked about this before, but yeah, that's definitely how we try to set the environment in our home. My kids, their friends are always over the house. They're always trying to stay the night. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's such a big thing with kids. I think I used to be the same way, but I can't remember why. But anyway, it's just, again, the environment that you set.
That's what I saw when I saw Wakanda. I said, I ain't leaving here.
Yeah, it's just like you said, you can present a place of peace in the midst of this chaos. That's the beautiful thing about families.
That's powerful.
Yeah, you create your environment. You have certain things and guidelines of how you dictate how your environment is run, and that's one of the beauties of just taking things into consideration. Like I said earlier, we talked about like the language in the movie. Like we have a no cursing policy in our home because my wife and I don't curse, so our kids don't curse. But they understand what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, and those kinds of things. So we actually surprised them by taking them to Black Panther, because typically we screen every movie that they watch.
So that's a real treat.
Yeah. So we took them to the theater and they thought somebody was going to come pick them up. Because, anytime we show them a movie, I make sure I watch it first. Either my wife or myself, we watch it first before we show it. Yep. Because I know how sometimes people throw Easter eggs in there, the unsavory kind of Easter eggs inside movies.
Disney is notorious for that.
I've actually been the kid who goes to a movie. I remember, I'll throw this out there real quick. I remember as a kid, this lady, she took a bunch of us kids to the movie. It was to see Frankenstein. So this was old. But it wasn't the good kind of Frankenstein. It was probably like some soft porn Frankenstein movie. Ooh. Yeah, it was off the chain, and it's like when it came on, all the kids were like, whoa, what is that? Like, they got excited. She's like, okay, it's time to go. So I know those things exist in movies, so I make sure that I screen everything before my kids do, participate in it. And also sometimes it's good to have discussions about the things that we don't let them watch. Why?
Yes.
Anyway, because I know Kevin does this as well, because we talk about this a lot in terms of whenever you watch something, going back to the art comment, it's good to talk about it with your children. It's good to open it, because it opens up so many dialogue that you may not have even considered yourself. It gives you an insight into what they like, what they think about, and the perspective in which they see it. Because again, as an adult, when you watch something, it's very different from when a child watches something. And the perspectives are definitely, it gives you insight onto how your kids actually think or interact with the things of this world.
And it kind of takes you back, because you forget that, I need to actually have a conversation about this, or stay on top of this thing.
I love no Jay. He said his oldest son thinks he's a rap star. He needs to go get his A and make him watch y'all talk. Karen said, you have to. It is difficult to create in chaos and confusion, at least for me. Yeah, that's me. It's like I like things very organized, and so chaos just frustrates me. So I try to my wife will tell you, like, I'm the purge guy. Like, I want to throw everything away just to have an empty house.
If they nail down,
so that's my way of thinking. But of course, my wife wins. I let her do whatever she wants.
If mama ain't happy, nobody happy.
Exactly. So care. It's like I like a happy wife better than a clutter-free house.
I just wanted to hit on the Cheryl. Cheryl talked about the wardrobe design went to another level, and the wardrobe design really did catch my eye, and it caught my eye even more when Leif mentioned it to me, and then I had to go research I forgot her name, but her what kind of influenced her to go this way with it. And then I ran into the concept of Afrofuturism, which is an old movement, but I didn't realize how powerful it was and how it's still around. And so the wardrobe, as far as the mixture between technology and then maintaining your old world tradition, and with the patterns and stuff in it, it's phenomenal.
I love the patterns.
The
Ruthie Carter. I'll post this in the timeline.
Like the suit and stuff. That kind of reminded me of like when in the Matrix, when they come out with the white suits. We say regular superheroes. I'm coming out with the white suit. Like Neo coming out and stuff.
Yeah, the costumes are dope. It was one of the things that actually got me pretty excited about the film. The fact that it was the Black Panther period, I was excited from the jump because he had a great debut. Actually, Spider-Man and Black Panther had a great debut in Civil War in the Marvel MCU universe. Marvel Comics universe. They had a great debut. Black Panther was so dope. I was like, okay, I want to see whatever movie they have of him come out. And then when they announced it, I was all, going bonkers or whatever. However, one of the things that I really fell in love with was the thought and the research behind the costume design. Yes, I believe she does deserve, Karen, she does deserve an Oscar for the costumes, because the costumes were pristine. And not only that, but if you look at the Ndoku Kare, the group, the female warriors, each one of the costumes was slightly different. There was a small variation in each one. And the level of detail was it was splendid. It was magnificent, and it's just one of those things. It's like, man, they you could tell they took a lot of time in really focusing on the details of this movie, because it wasn't cliche in the way that they addressed the script. It wasn't cliche in the costume. The technology design wasn't even cliche. They developed all new how technology works.
That was space age.
Oh man, it was dope. It was just like, I loved everything about it. I loved how the city represented an African culture. It wasn't Americanized. There was so many levels of detail in this movie that I really appreciated and loved. I had I was talking to my wife on the way home. I was really just going through my mind, because I love Winter Soldier and Civil War. The Captain America stories are my favorite in the Marvel universe.
They're good.
Because of the way they tell the story. So I was torn whether I like Black Panther better. And then over time, So when he left the movie, had an African accent. I know what you mean, my brother. So yeah, it was the same for me. But it's like the more I thought about it, there were so many nuggets that I loved from this movie that I was like, you know what? Right now is my favorite one. And I actually watched Civil War after I watched it because again, Black Panther was in that. My kids love Civil War, and so we had a good dialogue even talking about that. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I know it feels like I should be getting paid to say all of this stuff, but yeah, I'm definitely hype about what they've done and the direction that they took with it.
Well, we pulled out a bunch of good nuggets, I think. Another nugget for me, being that I'm always thinking about health and well-being, is that how they use. How everybody, I wonder if in Wakanda they have to worry about the water being fluoridated or genetically modified foods, or I wonder if they have to worry about any of those concerns. You know, they didn't look like it, maybe, I don't know.
Good question.
But I'm just saying that they all look pretty healthy and, functionally fit to live and do whatever they need to do.
Beautiful chocolate skin.
Man, I was about to. That's what I was thinking. They skin was glossy. It was shiny. It was nice and looked like it was elastic. You're supposed to have some elasticity to your skin. It didn't look ashy, cracking, none of that. I mean, they looked like you're supposed to look. You know,
man. I started busting out some push-ups in the middle of the theater.
Yeah, so they look like some healthy brothers, healthy sisters. I don't want
for sure.
I ain't challenging nobody. Like, y'all, anybody challenging? Like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, it's like, let that brother be.
Oh yeah, he's like, hey, he's doing a good job. He's doing a great job.
By me, it's like, keep that Panther power, man.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to prove, but just some from a health and wellness perspective, just the use of natural herbs, just being natural as far as. Being able to do what's quote unquote maybe seen as some supernatural things, even in our given world, just by living basic life, And then also I liked how they did bring in the other aspect as far as the connection to the other reality that in the Eastern world, in the Eastern world it's not a big deal, but in our definitely highly scientific and materialistic. As far as science and basing things on the five senses, as far as we're concerned, we struggle with that a lot. But in that other part of the world, they don't struggle with it. It's normal. What's that?
He said in Wakanda, cocoa butter floats in the air. Cocoa butter atoms. That's what.
Shea butter. Yeah. I got that shea butter for you, bro.
You just step in the mist. Yeah, and another thing that I loved about it, like I said, it wasn't westernized the culture. The fact, just think about it, they were still hurting. They were still doing things that we in the Western culture call primitive in a sense, right? But they were the most advanced civilization, yet these things were still present.
And that made me think of the farm life. Because sometimes when I worked on the farm, it's like, well, these guys is kind of, like quote unquote, not primitive, but you say old school or tradition or whatever. But when you actually talk to them, you see what they do. They're actually genius level intellects and people when it comes. Because when I would have a conversation with the farmer, he'd be like, well, this season, but the ground is this, the weather is this.
They have to think about
They're thinking about a million things at once, all in the present.
Yes.
And it's just like, how do you keep up with all these systems, cycles, rhythms? How do you keep up with all this? But when you see it, like in a culture like in Wakanda, you see like, oh, we were designed to be part of a system. Yep. And when you take us out of the system, when you lift the people off the land. I'm using that phrase on purpose for those with that know. When you lift the people off the land, they are not rooted in the land, and they are not rooted to the natural circadian rhythms, cycles, systems, the trends and everything that's going on with respect to the world and then with respect to the universe. So that's one thing that really stuck out at me. Is there anything else? I got a bunch of stuff.
James said we should recognize the economic power we hold, and that's very true. Yeah. It goes back to what Karen just talked about. they were extremely unified. Being unified has a lot of power.
Unification.
Yes, it's a powerful tool for economic resources, right? Because the resources is truly the best resource in this world are people. Bar none.
Man.
And then when you understand that, then as long as you have a good community, a good network of people, then nothing can be withholding from you in the sense of what you can accomplish on this earth. So that's why I'm always preaching cooperation. That's why I'm always preaching unity, community, those kinds of things. Because once we start realizing that we're stronger together than we are apart, then there's nothing that we can't accomplish. So I agree wholeheartedly.
You really hit on it.
Tim?
I was listening to an audio book called Prosper, and I always listen to things like that from time to time just so I can keep in my forefront of thoughts about how to live on purpose and how to live in a state of preparation, or how to move in that direction versus living in a state of desperation and living on the edge. I may, no matter where you find yourself, try to make it priority to step in the direction of living in a state of preparation. Yeah. And the easiest the simplest way to do that is, like you said, is develop relationships.
That's it.
No, we're taught to go to money, extra job and stuff, but literally it's just make a friend of your neighbor and start bartering.
Yeah.
Mama said, you got some sugar. And we get
Hey, I actually borrowed a tool one time. It was like I went over to my neighbor's house, like, "Hey, man, can I borrow a tool?" And he let me borrow it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was huge because, again, like you said, people have what you need, and it's really closer than what you think. A lot of times we think that everything that we need is external and so far out of reach and out of grasp. But if you talk to the person next to you, you'd be surprised on how they could help you, and vice versa, how you could help them. So the more we start realizing that, that we can help one another, that there's true, not just gimmicky, cliche, but there's true strength in numbers. There's true strength in unity. There's true strength in collaborative working toward a singular purpose. And again, like I said, there's nothing in this world that can be withholding from you once you grab hold of that. You said y'all talking about white versus black propaganda. You are just saying real. Yeah. Oh, we ain't. Yeah, for the youngsters, much respect. We appreciate that, Jay, for sure.
Yeah, we generally do come from a general perspective, but oftentimes we do come from the black community or African American community perspective. It just depends on where we're at. And
it depends on the topic because again, like I said, I don't want to dive into the movie because it gets into that, and I actually post some questions on my personal page around some of the ideology within the movie. Because again, the thing that I love the most about it, I know I keep saying it, is that there are a lot of nuggets that were talked about, and if you are against the stance of my man Killmonger, then you have to address the reasons why you're against what he's for.
Yeah, he really.
Because if you realize the premise of what he was, T'Challa said it best: you're trying to become what you hate.
Man,
and I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get into details.
Yeah, the way they did Killmonger really addressed some issues on a multiplicity of levels.
Oh man, it was very layered. It was very nuanced. It
was very nuanced because now I'm thinking about it. It even hits on the point of how real Africans, quote unquote, view the watered down Africans, so to speak.
Yeah, but it goes beyond just that.
Yeah,
it goes beyond just African American. There were a lot of things in his speeches and the things that he said, the context of which he said them. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. I don't know how you saying that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I ain't gonna be like, yeah, I agree. And then you
what?
She's like, woo. You could be that kind of woo. I don't know what kind of woo you talking about, Karen. So, but yeah, it is. So you had to, but yeah, the things that were talked about again is such. Man, this one is such a depth. We'll probably talk about the end of the week. Because if you haven't seen it by the end of the week, it's on you. I'm just gonna spill the beans. I'm gonna basically
we gonna let it on.
I'm gonna go through my book of Eli's like Denzel Washington, lay on my back and just recite the whole movie. but yeah, again, it was just so nuanced and so layered. I truly loved it because I made the statement that there were no true villains in the movie outside of Claw, and I said that for a reason, just to create dialogue, and it created the kind of dialogue I was going for. So anyway,
we're gonna have to hit on that, spend some time on it, and kind of just use that as a launching pad to dive deeper into some subjects, going along, leveling up to the next level. I think I'm gonna have to cut it off here. Unless you want to keep.
Kevin's hit his word limit
because I still got
but anyway, we definitely thank you guys for stopping by. We thank you for the comments. Thank you for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. Like I said, there's a lot more. He said his voice was real. I agree. Exactly. And that was the whole point, Karen. She said his voice was real. It was just the same space as the oppressor. And that was the thing. Because one of the things I pointed out in the dialogue on my page is if you oppose everything that he said, then you have to rethink how culture is really really made right now. Yeah. Because you got to think about world leaders, the things that they stand for, the things that they say.
The phrase that he used.
Oh, yeah. It was very purposeful. That's why it's like the writers were definitely on point. There were a lot of cultural references in there. The opening scenes. There were a lot of things that I know people my age bracket will definitely appreciate, especially from the 90s. A lot of things I recognize from that. It's
headed back. The 90s is going to recycle and resurface here real soon.
I agree, Omar. The movie was definitely fire, man. It's like I'm trying not to give away any spoilers because the more I talk about it, the more hype I get.
Today was just a toe dipping.
Yeah, because I was like, we'll definitely go in because I know a lot of people going in on their lives about the movie, how much they loved it and those kinds of things. More power to them. Best Marvel villain, bruh, man, he was the most layered quote unquote villain. For sure. I definitely give it because I was like, man, I actually like that brother, man.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, exactly.
It was like he was very likable, and I was like, man, I actually love that brother. It's like my wife was like, I didn't want to see him die, and then I'm like, Marvel, something will happen, and I just said something I shouldn't have. I'm sorry.
We'll just keep going.
Yeah. But anyway, but it was so many, like I said, pieces that were in there that you could just talk about and dissect and just expand on one comment and take it for a show on its own. And that's what I love so much about it.
What we'll probably do is quote unquote news jack this trend with Black Panther and kind of dive deep.
Jay, you comedy, bro. It's gonna be garbage, man. You don't want to watch it on there. You go to the theater to see it. Trust me.
Get the initial experience.
No, first. See the HD, bro. See the HD. It's not even worth watching a fuzzy version of any high power movie. He said he went twice with the fam. We'll be back tomorrow. I feel you, man. Let's see. That was just my wife hitting me up. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it was such a great movie. I can't wait to see it again. My man Lamar, he saw it twice already, and he didn't even watch movies twice.
Wow, I don't watch movies twice either.
I typically don't either, but I have found myself watching Civil War several times because my kids are watching
kids, man.
And they love it, and I'll watch it because I actually like it a lot. I could definitely see this movie multiple times. My wife already told me we're buying it, so there. Oh, man, I'm sure that was dope. Yeah, she saw it on the IMAX 3. I actually want to go see it in 3D myself, see what that's like, see if there's any different. Just to come. I don't know, man. I just love the movie. My wife was trying to convince me to take the whole family. I'm like, man, that's a family.
3D?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't know about that because I'm very tight with my money. I'm
going to have to slip away by myself on that one.
Oh, yeah, Chris. He said he literally just left the movie. He said he loved it. Jay said it's all right now. He'll think about it some more. He'll love it over time for sure. Because again,
come on, get on the bandwagon.
Yeah, because truthfully, like I said, I was wondering if my kids enjoyed it because there were some things I know that they wouldn't understand in the context in which they were put. So because I know my kids are now at the age where we have to explain stuff to them so they can get a deeper understanding of what terms mean, what phraseology means, and that kind of stuff. Yep. So there was a good message there regarding how many Killmonger do we leave behind as Yeah, bro. We talked about that again. There was so many things in the movie, and from an African American perspective, there were so many things that I could personally relate to. That's why I loved it. And again, the representation was off the charts. They had great quality actors, which is what money does.
Yes,
that's why I'm so happy that there was a high budget film for African Americans. I know there's another one coming out, A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the premise of that story, but I know a lot of people have read the book and they love the book. So I'm excited to see that as well. Again, man, like I said, I know there's so many things. I'm just... Yeah, I might just stop talking so I don't give it up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, just consider today's two shy guys at a mic. Just consider today's topic discussion about Black Panther, a toe dipping, in which we're going to go deeper as more and more people get to see it and actually not get spoiled. We're definitely going to talk about it. And, like I said, Two Shy Guys, we like to interweave current events, topics, pop culture into a lot of our discussions when it comes to leveling up. Because as far as moving up and stepping up in your life, one of the things you have to do is be aware and sober to what's going on and where you are in the present, so you'll know where to go with respect to some of your past failures and mistakes. Know where you are, know where the culture is, so you'll know how to navigate towards your destiny, your designed destiny. So thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. We're definitely going to stay on this. We're going to resonate on this tone for a while.
Yeah, also, before we go, the black excellence that was displayed was awesome. I just want to leave it on there. Peace. Okay. Be excellent this week.
Be excellent.
Bye.